Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Kevin and this is the Red Pilling channel. So I want to discuss a little about Marjorie Taylor Greene because she unexpectedly resigned from Congress, or is going to resign in January. Um, so yeah, this kind of is a shocker. Just days before, Trump revoked his endorsement from her, and um, she looked like she was going to keep fighting to win, and suddenly she's not resigning. So it's like, what changed so suddenly overnight? And well, so I'm going to give my thoughts on Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's definitely an interesting character for sure, and I think kind of misunderstood. I think only certain people understand her, I think. And well, here's the thing. The neocon segment, because here's the thing, neocon Republicans don't really exist anymore. I mean, a lot of older people seem to be more neocon, unfortunately, a lot of them, just because of the generational stuff. But most of the really hardcore neocon people are mostly in on online spaces, which a lot of times they're probably bots, people trying to still think the GOP is the party of Bush, and it isn't. And so those people, I don't give a crap what they think of her. So they really don't matter to me on what they think about Marjorie Taylor Greene. However, she definitely has caused a rift within, or a schism, or just I'll say a rift in MAGA. And I think it's kind of sad because I feel the things that there's disagreement on are things that are really meaningless, but it's still enough to cause a rift. And that's the problem. So here's the thing. So who's Marjorie Taylor Greene? Again, she's a congresswoman out of Georgia. She represents Georgia. And she is considered to be the more MAGA voice of the Republican Party, more on the more MAGA wing. And she definitely, over her career, because I think she's been around about the time Trump ran, and I do think she, definitely not without controversy, because again, some would consider, she used to be kind of considered the conspiracy one. People kind of saw her as kind of insane and unhinged on things, and she kind of had a mouth. She kind of didn't withhold her thoughts, and people saw her as kind of toxic and kind of just almost like a female version of Trump. She just says what she thinks, and it triggers people. However, she's definitely has moved to the right even more so lately. And however, people feel like it's so, she's kind of, some of the messaging has been kind of turn offish, and people think she's a Democrat now, and I don't think that at all, actually. I think here's what I think's happening, okay? I think she's trying to play the long game and is running to the right of Trump. And I think some say she's disrespecting Trump, and I don't know. Maybe she is. I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't like the rift I see, because I feel like they agree more than what you get on the neocon side. So it's just, the whole thing is kind of breaks me a little bit, because why? But I think she's playing the long game, which I think she's running, I think what she's trying to help Trump, it seems like, and help more MAGA go to, or is really trying to help get more than Trump, it's the Republican Party, is if we want to win elections and we want to really save America, we have to, and want to beat the left, we have to focus on the young people who feel ignored. And I guess she feels that Republicans have taken them for granted, because the biggest issues with young voters right now is the affordability stuff, because they're kind of what you call the renter generation. They don't own anything. They can't buy a home. the likelihood of having kids. They don't really want to have kids because how much expensive it is now. So she's really vocal about the interests of young people, and young people feel she's listening to them. A lot of cases, so she's kind of popular among young people. I think she definitely appeals a lot to the younger right, but I think even maybe some sane people on the left are kind of agreeing with her on things because of that messaging. I think she also is really against the H-1B visas. She kind of introduced a bill to ban it because she sees it seems it's become a scam, and the more evidence shows it's never really about more workers or talent. It's about replacing for cheapness, and Americans are hurting because of it. So there's that. And anti-AI. She's kind of really critical of AI. And I think that's a big issue is because AI is, give it 10, 20 years, AI may wipe out a lot of jobs. And what's going to happen to young people if they can't work? Where are we going to live off the government? I mean, it's getting scary what we're seeing being developed, and I think she's seeing that. And she's also against the war stuff. Really, wants to cut foreign aid and wants to wants to stay out of foreign wars. So, and she's kind of branding herself as what you call America only. Kind of, again, she's trying to run to the right of Trump. Some say she's doing it in a poor manner because the way she's doing it is she seems to be attacking Trump from the right, but also going on to the left to attack him onto enemy territory, which is what's causing a rift towards Trump, the way she's doing that. I think there's better ways she could have done that. That's my criticism of her. Because, when you go to enemy territory to attack Trump, you're not only seen as disloyal, but you're seen as you're kind of attacking the enemies to attack them. That does not work well with Trump. So I do think her way of doing it was not right. I do think I know where she was coming from, though. I do think she was trying to move him to the right on those key issues because, well, I think she saw it as important if you want to win midterms. And I think she thinks we're going to lose midterms because of this. And I think she feels the GOP and she feels even Trump's kind of out of touch right now. So I don't know. I don't know. Again, I think she's an interesting character, but I do think on the issues long term, she seems to be the only Republican listening right now on those things. Now, again, Trump's done a lot of good things. He has. Okay? And he will. Whatever his approval rating is now, it's going to get better. But it's a dumpster fire with everything else right now. I just do, because nothing's really getting done. Yes, Trump is kind of doing what he can with the power he has, but it's so divided right now, and that's the problem. So there's that. Why Trump removed his endorsement, you can speculate, but we don't really know. Everybody always wants to say, "Oh, it's Israel." That's everything. That's what people are so obsessed with now, is Israel. I mean, I know she's been critical of Israel as well, but they think that's the reason Trump revoked it. And I don't think that's it at all. I mean, that's the thing, though. Trump also was against, some things Israel was doing. So why would he revoke endorsement over her criticism of Israel? It doesn't make sense. I don't know. So I don't think that's the reason it is. That's mostly going around on X, and that seems to be the only thing they can think about is Israel. The Israel obsessed group thinks everything's Israel. The whole, the Palestine obsessed and the Israel obsessed, it's like, it's cringe. And it's just, it's taking our focus off the game and beating the left. That's the problem. So that's not it. What I think might have did it for her, though, is again, going on CNN, enemy territory, to attack Trump. I think that's what really did it. That's what really did it. I just do. So but with that being said, what really did it with him? I don't know. I just don't know. I think it's a mystery to me, and it's a disappointment because she's pretty good on most of the issues that you ran on, but you're still endorsing these neocons still that don't really support you at all. I guess I don't understand the strategy here. I guess that's one thing I'm still missing. But with that being said, why does she resign is the question now. Why does she resign? I mean, she looked so confident she was going to run and still fight, and she thought she could still overcome Trump's endorsement, but she didn't decide to run. Why is that? Did she get paid by someone? Is she blackmailed? Was she um was she did she get offered money from a network, or did the View pay her to come on? I don't what really is going on here. So we don't know. Is there a scandal? Or could she be running for president? Is she just resigning because she's trying to kind of prepare early for a possible presidential run? Because 2028 is going to get juicy. It's going to be really interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but if you think it's divided now, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. It's just among the right. It's so just stay tuned. That's all I can say. Um, and I think her running for president. See, here before I get on the presidency stuff, here's one thing you have to understand. Why I like a lot of the stuff Marjorie is saying, and I do think her optics make sense because she's looking at a specific demographic. That's clearly what she seems to be doing. She seems to be pandering a little too much to the online crowd, but also to the young base, and that's what people think she's doing, and that people think she's focusing too much on the issues that don't matter as a whole as much to people. And they do matter because every vote's going to matter, and we're going to need young people. So I don't think we shouldn't take young people for granted because they're going to be determined for going to the future. And if we don't take them seriously now, we're going to see more Mamdanis get elected. And I don't want that at all. So we have to be, in order to beat the left, we have to be populist. The only way we're going to defeat the left populism is it's going to be right-wing populism. That's the only way we can do it. We're going to beat the left. That's just it. Because populism is the future to winning. Either way, regardless if it comes from what section. It's just a matter of who does it first. And, the Republicans are so distracted while Democrats are like, you know what? While they're fighting, I'm going to go prey on them. And we all know the populist left, their policy aren't going to fix the problems, but that's the problem. They at least give them a vision of something, and that's why they're voting for it. Again, whether it's a false vision, but people like a vision, and when they feel vibes, they vote for it. Like, we saw what happened with Donald Trump, and of course, we saw what happened to Obama. Obama turned out to be a fraud, but again, his message, gave people what they thought was hope, even though we know he destroyed the country, and so it paved the road for Trump. So there's that. There's also concern that she's also been a little bit contradictory, though. That's what I'm just talking about more now. The people that have an issue with her, because she used to be, people see her as a rhino because of voting to keep the subsidies. I mean, I don't like Obamacare. It's a disaster. Marjorie even said herself it's a disaster, but I think she picked the populist decision, and that's to keep the subsidies because there really hasn't been a replacement. And Republicans don't want to replace it either. So I think she thought the best option was to keep it because there are some people that may need it, and I think largely had to do with the high cost of premiums going up without it if it were to expire. So, I mean, to me, that seemed to be when you're trying to represent your state and represent the people, it kind of makes sense why you have to kind of do what you don't feel like doing. So I don't know if that's rhino It's not, Obamacare is a terrible policy, but I think she did what she had to do in that case, because Republicans are useless. They're not bringing their own policy. However, you know, Trump proposed to, after that, not too long after that, to send money directly to the people, the taxpayers, the subsidies to the people directly than the insurance companies. But a lot of Republicans are owned by the insurance companies to enrich them than the people. So I don't know if Republicans really, the rhinos, want to go for that. So Trump can propose it, but that's one thing. Republicans aren't even, okay, let's vote for it. I know it's the filibuster, but like, I don't know. It's just it's crazy cycle in Washington right now. So she voted at the time for what she thought was best. So I can't really fault her for that. However, some people think she did it for her own special interest because she said something about her kids needing it. So it's like, okay, so is this really about you and your special interest? Then there was something about immigration, something about how we need to do something more than just deporting a bunch of people, and some about labor. And I know she's a construction owner, so she claims she's against H-1B, but seems to be making exceptions for construction companies. And it's like, so is there some special interest there? Of course, she is because she's a construction owner, so former construction owner. So it's like she seems to sometimes be consistent on some things. She says America only, but like, it can't be America only and have foreigners replace Americans for construction jobs when they have them here. So that's where people are like, don't really trust her. So where is all this coming from? Is it all big grift? Who's, is she being paid? It's a mystery to me. And I don't feel like enough people have asked her where this all came from. So then again, politics changes. People can change. So I don't know. However, it does seem she's walked back because she has recently again proposed the H-1B visas, banning that, revoking that. She thinks it's a scam and all that. So, and then again, I already said earlier about the AI stuff and the war stuff she's really against, and the foreign aid. So those are the things she seems to be really red-pilled on. Because here's the thing, she has a pretty good voting record on, especially on conservative values and things that matter, especially on gun rights, and she's really pro-life, and I'm pro-life. So there's a lot of issues she's staunch on, but on some of the MAGA key principles, she seems to be moving to the right of Trump on, because we kind of have to, because of where the public is going and stuff. So I don't know. So again, why did she resign? With all that being said, why did she resign? That's a tough one. We don't really know why she resigned. I think, it could be a lot of reasons why she resigned, and, maybe we'll know more going with that. Maybe there's something we're fishy here. Because nothing seems to be what all seems a lot of times. So I don't know. But she might be gearing up a run for president. I mean, it makes sense. And she almost seems to be running like a shadow campaign the way she messages. So she could be. And it might be good for Vance, actually, because I don't think she'd get the nomination, but it might push Vance to run to the right on some of those issues, because he's popular with young people, but adopting some of her proposals might even make him more popular with young people. So maybe it's a good way to, help move Vance to the right a little bit. So I don't know, but I don't think she'd get the nomination if that were to happen. I don't even think it necessarily means she's going to run, but I'm just thinking it seems possible based on what I'm seeing. And I don't think women are ready for a woman's president yet, that seems to be the problem case right now. America doesn't seem ready for that right now. But I do think she's going to have to come forward on H-1Bs, though. Either you're for all or not. You can't have it both ways, and she's kind of flip-flopped on that. As for healthcare, you need to actually propose a system to replace it if you don't like Obamacare, because Obamacare is a disaster. So she needs to change that. As for another another thing that I think is important too is I think her views on tariffs need to change because she's not really pro tariff. She thinks the tariffs aren't doing well. She's kind of responding people that are fear with the tariffs. Well, which that's just from what I remember hearing about. And it's like, well, in the Midwest, you have to be pro tariff. Despite what people say about the Midwest, Trump won because of the tariff. That was immigration and the tariffs protecting jobs is why he won. So I know in the South, she's a Southerner from Georgia. They're not as pro tariff, and in the Midwest, you kind of have to be. I'm from Wisconsin, which is really the heart plan of labor. You kind of have to be because they see that as a protector for their jobs. So that's why I think Vance is still the key because he's pro tariff. But I do think I do still think Vance will get the nominee because of his more Rust Belt appeal. Because I do think that's he does better in the Rust Belt, like up here more. But I do think for VP, Marjorie should be considered a possibility. And I think Marjorie might kind of consider her positions because, where the party's headed, because the tariffs are popular with Republicans. Young people like the tariffs. It's actually the one thing young people love about Trump is the tariffs. So she needs to change that. And if by being on the ticket, it might help Vance even more with young people because of some of her key positions that she's moving to the really right of. And I think you need that, particularly with AI, and which is kind of interesting because people think Vance is not really good because of his ties to the tech industry, but maybe Marjorie can kind of, red pill him on the AI stuff because AI is not good the way things are going. And the H-1B stuff a little bit and stuff. So, and I think Vance is kind of anti-war, not as much as Trump, but I think Marjorie being pretty more anti-war like Trump, maybe even more so, I do think Mike could move Vance even to more anti-war direction. So, and I think you're going to need that. Also, no to foreign aid to other countries. No country should be getting foreign aid right now with the way things are going. So, I think that could help Vance more with the young people and more with that term messaging because on those key issues because they matter and on affordability with housing. So, anyway, that's just my thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree, but I'm just liking what I think that could be a possibility. And so, if it's a Vance and MTG ticket, I'd vote for it in a heartbeat because it tells me that I think you're going to need a ticket like that to beat Gavin Newsom. I'm sorry, but Newsom won't be as easy to beat as people think. He just won't. And we can't leave anything to chance. We can't have any possibility of people thinking we got to vote for Newsom. So I think you need a populist right, a pure populist right ticket. And I think we need that if we really want to change the GOP. And we have to do better in the primaries to actually primary these swamp creators in Congress. That's another thing we have to do. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Maybe, I don't know. That's all I have for now, though. If you like this video, please like, hit the bell. If you have anything to comment, please comment down below. If you like the channel, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. The Red Pilling channel out.